Well, I'm about to head into the gym for the first time in two. I've been off for 2 weeks, the past 2 weeks. And when I posted the other day, I told you I would fill you in a little bit later on why that was. Um, Distracted by all the snow in the parking lot. That's the explanation for this past week. If you live anywhere on the East Coast, you know about the tremendous snowstorm that came through a week ago Sunday. And it shut down Northern Virginia because in addition to the snow, on top of the snow, we got sleet. And then on top of the sleet, we got freezing rain. So we had like this 4-inch layer of ice on top of the snow. And it took a week, really, and things are, it was over a week. Just today in our county, did the schools go back. And they were even on a 2-hour delay still today. So that was not part of my original plan. But I got lots of activity last week, shoveling and slinging and chopping through the ice and the snow. The week before that, I had this distinct privilege of going on a personal spiritual retreat. So I went Tuesday afternoon down to a cabin in the woods. It's not as sketchy as it sounds. It's a lovely little cabin in a rustic campground down on the Rappahannock River. And I was there Tuesday afternoon. I went to my Bible study Tuesday evening and then back. And then all day Wednesday and all day Thursday. And then Friday morning I came home. And it was just, it's the first time I've been able to do this, although I've had the resources for several years. And it was really meaningful and really impactful to get alone with God for that amount of time. The Wednesday that I was there doing the, primarily the spiritual component of that, I had my phone off for 24 hours and it was amazing. My family were fine. They're all adults now, even the kids. And so they knew what they had to do, and everybody knew where I was. If they had to get in touch with me, they would have been able to. But it was lovely, and it was just this great, quiet time with God. And it was very impactful, and it wasn't that every breath, every moment I was hearing this loud, booming voice of God, because, of course, that's not how God works most of the time. But there were whispers from God, and it was wonderful. And then Thursday I spent the day doing a lot of the nuts and bolts of the vision, that, not literal vision, but the vision for the year that God and I had put together on Wednesday. The nuts and bolts of how that was going to look, what steps did I have to take to get there. On Wednesday, the spiritual day that I was completely off grid mentally from the world, I took a walk as part of that meditation. I had a retreat packet that I had purchased from a content creator several years ago, but part of it was to go on a walk and just appreciate nature and appreciate God's provision in nature. And being January, I walked down to the river, and parts of it were frozen over, not the whole thing. And the part where I walked down, if you're familiar with rivers at all, it was rather narrow, but there was also then these islands in the middle and a break in between, just where I happened to walk down. And I looked through this break over to the other half of the river that was flowing, and there were these rocks there as it was going back down into the river. And I thought, oh, that looks like a turtle. And of course, immediately, being an outdoorsy type person, I remembered, of course, turtles hibernate in the winter. And immediately I felt the sense of God telling me, you've been hibernating. And it wasn't judgment. It was a fact and an explanation, because hibernation, for the animals that hibernate through the winter, it serves a very distinct and necessary purpose. But I had been struggling with some frustration over a lot of random things. But one primary thing was with my health coaching. I'm really passionate about this, and I have the skills, and I have the passion, and I have the heart to lead people into transformational health coaching. I don't have clients. I'm being really transparent with you guys right now, but I don't have clients. I have the skills, I have the desire, I have the gifting, but I'm not walking in it yet. And God told me, you've been hibernating. It's time to come up into the sun. So that's what I'm doing with this video, is trying to come up into the sun. And some of it is dependent on me, and a lot of it is dependent on God putting this video and my other resources in front of the right people. People that resonate with the message of loving your good body given to you by God. With your loving God, with your heart, your mind, your soul, and your strength. And finding ways to do that. And that's what he told me. He said, it's time to come up into the sun. And that day, Wednesday, when I was down at the river, it was mostly frozen over. There was, of course, because there's flow, it wasn't solid. I wasn't going to go, walk out on it or anything. But then the next day that I went down, the sun had been up a little bit longer, but it was also comparatively warmer the next day. It was actually up into the 20s. And the river was much more open. There was much more flow in the river. In fact, I could hear the water rushing over the rocks farther upstream from where I was standing. And I felt in that moment God's encouragement that if I obeyed him, if I'm obedient in coming up into the sun and not hiding, not staying buried and hibernating in my giftings, that that's the potential that he sees before me. And did not feel it was a promise, a transactional promise of, if you do this, all this is yours, right? Although sometimes God does do that. But I felt it was an encouragement to me, a vision of what could be in the future, as I come up out of metaphorical hibernation into the sun of my giftings and my heart and my callings, and make myself known to the community, to the individuals who are looking for what I have, to give, to share, to guide, into transformation. Those of you who know something's missing, those of you who are struggling with some component of spiritual health, mental health, physical health, emotional health, mental and emotional, they kind of go together, that what you need is what I have to offer. And I see that can grow and flow, and that transformation will come like a waterfall and a rushing river. And this is a lot longer video than I intended to make. We're going on 9 minutes now. So if you have hung in there in this time of very, very short attention spans, I thank you. And if you have hung in there, that means this is resonating with you. This is interesting to you. There's something that you're missing or not connecting in your own health journey. So please reach out, drop me a DM. We can see whether my coaching style, my giftings, my abilities, my passion meet up with your needs. If you know somebody who is struggling in some way and this video in any way reminded you of them, made you think of them, please share this video. Let's get going to a healthier you in this new year. We've hit February already. A lot of people have already noped out on their New Year's resolutions. Let's get going with grace and mercy and compassion to a new and healthier you in 2026 and beyond. Thank you so much for listening to my ramblings today. Be blessed, and I can't wait to hear from you.